Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the blueprint for blockchain. We're going to look way past all the crypto hype to see how major companies are actually putting it to work, break down how it functions at its core, and then, we'll peek into what's coming next for this really game-changing tech. But let's start with a really basic problem, one we all deal with: trust. I mean, think about it. The food you eat, the data you share online. How can you be 100% sure where it came from or that it hasn't been messed with along the way? That's the exact puzzle that enterprise blockchain is built to solve. So here's our game plan. We're going to step beyond crypto and see how blockchain is making waves in the real world. We'll check out the blueprint businesses are using, get into the nitty-gritty of how it's built, and then look ahead to its decentralized future. Okay, first up, let's get one thing straight. We need to separate blockchain technology from its most famous child, cryptocurrency. We're not talking about digital money today. We're talking about the powerful engine that runs underneath it all. You see, at its heart, blockchain is what's called distributed ledger technology, or DLT. Now, the easiest way to think about this is like a shared digital notebook. But instead of one person or one company controlling it, like a bank, every single person in the network gets their own identical copy. It's totally transparent, and because of some really clever math we'll get into later, it is incredibly hard to cheat, creating a trusted record without needing a middleman. So, that's the big idea. But how does this actually play out in the messy real world? Let's jump into three totally different industries and see the very real problems that blockchain is solving for them, like right now. And we'll kick things off with the supply chain. Just picture the journey your food takes to get to your plate. It's a long, winding road with so many stops, which, opens the door for things like fraud or contamination. And this is a perfect real-world example. A huge retailer was staring down the barrel of multi-million-dollar recalls. So they used a private blockchain called Hyperledger Fabric to track their food. Now, if there's a problem, say some bad lettuce, they can pinpoint its exact origin in seconds. Not days, seconds. That's not just a small improvement. For them and for you, that's a total game changer. All right, next up, let's pivot to the world of finance. Every single day, banks are moving unbelievable amounts of money between each other, and you can bet that trying to make sure all those numbers add up is a massive, slow, and expensive headache. And this example just shows the sheer power and scale of it all. The South African Reserve Bank ran this incredible project to see if a shared ledger could make interbank payments more efficient. And the results? Well, they were kind of mind-blowing. They processed a whole day's worth of payments. We're talking 70,000 transactions in less than 2 hours. All while keeping the sensitive data private between the different banks. And for our last example, let's look at healthcare. This is an industry where our data is both super valuable and, let's be honest, all over the place. Your records are probably scattered across a dozen different doctors, hospitals, and labs. The big idea here is all about control. A project called MedRec uses blockchain to create one single, trustworthy history of a patient's health. But here's the kicker. It puts the patient in the driver's seat. Using things called smart contracts, which are just self-executing rules written in code, you can give a doctor or a pharmacy permission to see only specific parts of your record for a specific time. This creates a secure, provable history, and it means you finally have true ownership of your own health information. So all these case studies, the food, the money, the medical records, they all have one big thing in common. They are not using the wide-open, anonymous blockchain that powers Bitcoin. No. They're using a special version built for business, where knowing who you're dealing with is absolutely critical. Let's take a look at that blueprint. And this is the fundamental difference. Public blockchains, they're like a public park. Anyone can come and go. But in the business world, you need to know who's in the room. Permission blockchains like Hyperledger are more like a private club. It's invitation only. Everyone is identified, and you can set strict rules about who can see and do what. For industries like finance and healthcare, this isn't just nice to have, it's essential. This whole process is designed around checks and balances. First, a transaction request gets sent to be checked by special members called endorsers. They're like the quality control inspectors. Once they give it the thumbs up, it goes to an orderer. This is the gatekeeper that gets everyone to agree on the state of the ledger, then officially packages the transaction into a new block. Finally, that new block is broadcast to everybody else, so all the notebooks are updated and perfectly in sync. Okay, so we've seen what it can do and how businesses are using it. Now let's pop the hood and look at the actual building blocks that make this whole thing work. It all starts with the block. Just think of it as one single page in that digital notebook we talked about. It holds a list of transactions, a timestamp of when it was made, and this unique code called a hash, which is basically a digital fingerprint for everything inside. And here's the most important part. It also holds the fingerprint of the page that came right before it. And that little detail is what creates the chain. Each new block is cryptographically handcuffed to the one before it, creating this unbreakable link all the way back to the very first one, which is called the Genesis block. This structure is what makes the whole thing practically tamper-proof. I mean, if you tried to secretly change something in an old block, its fingerprint would change, which would instantly break the chain for everyone to see. The network would know something was wrong immediately. So now that we get the basic mechanics, we can start to see just how far this blueprint can take us. Where else can this technology cut out the friction and build trust where it didn't exist before? The possibilities are just huge. Think about secure networks for all our smart devices, or local energy grids where you can sell the extra power from your solar panels right to your neighbor, no power company needed. And it goes deeper than just making real estate deals safer. We're talking about fundamentally changing what ownership means. From a piece of paper in a dusty file cabinet to a digital asset that you and only you control. It's about a future where your digital identity isn't owned by some giant tech company, but by you. At the end of the day, this technology is a tool for building trust in a digital world without having to rely on a central company or authority. It forces us to ask some really tough questions about our reliance on these middlemen, from our banks to our social media platforms. So the question isn't just about efficiency or security anymore. It's something much bigger. Which of the gatekeepers we trust today might not even be necessary tomorrow? And what incredible new things will become possible when they're gone?